Hello, sixth grade. So first of all, I wanted to make sure you guys saw that yesterday on Google Classroom, I did post a little blurb about all of the reasons I am so happy and proud to be your teacher. In the last 48 hours, you guys have done things and said things that just make me so happy and so inspired to keep teaching you and to keep learning together. So please make sure to go check out that post. Kahara, you're in there. Elena, you're in there. Nisa, you are in there for calling your actual representative yesterday during class. We're all super proud of you for that. So please make sure you go check that out because I want you guys to see it. All right. Today we are launching our new unit. And what I need you to do at this point in the video is if you have not yet completed your RTL, you need to go back to your RTL and you need to complete it because the RTL sets up the connection to the rest of the mini lesson video. The rest of this video will not make sense unless you go and complete that RTL. So please make sure to pause the video right now, go complete the RTL if you have not already. If you have completed today's RTL, then great. So our RTL questions, our last two questions, or our last question rather, was how do you know, sorry guys, I'm just adjusting the camera. How do you know that this map is accurate? So you might have said things like, well, because all of the countries are labeled, because the map has the equator on it and the oceans are labeled, because the continents look like they're in the right place. You might have said something like, well, because in the past, my teachers have taught me about the map, about what it looks like. I've learned about geography in the past. And this map matches up with my prior knowledge. It matches up with what I already know about how the world looks. All of that are perfectly acceptable answers. All of them make sense. I would agree with you. Generally, people, scientists, educators all over the world agree that this is what the world looks like. You as students have every right to trust us when we say that this is where the continents are located and this is what the map generally looks like. Here's the one problem though with that way of thinking. Students in your exact same position in the 1500s, students in your exact same position would have thought, or students in your exact same position in Europe. So this is the continent of Europe. This is Europe. Anyone living on this continent in the 1500s would have been sitting in a classroom and their teachers would have handed them a map of the world. And those students would have trusted their teachers. But the issue is their map would look like this. Ready? Come on, get this tape off. If you were a student in Europe in the 1500s, this is what your map would look like. It would be missing everything over here. So our job today is to figure out how is it possible that a map to a student in Europe in the 1500s would look like this, could look like this, because we know that today the map looks pretty different. So something must have happened to change their view. And today is about understanding, about thinking about what might have happened to change this person's view of the world. Okay, so now let's go to our learning target. Remember, like I said before, the name of our new unit is Native America, Native America, oh, it's squeaky, and colonization. Native America and colonization. Okay, these words are probably new for us, and that's okay. We'll also notice that one of the words in this unit title, colonization, is also in the learning target. So let's go to the learning target to figure out what we actually need to accomplish today. Here we go. I will be able to explain how colonization changed Europeans' view of the world in the 1500s. So remember, European is the person, any person living in Europe. So that's going to be, so that's going to be this guy, okay? Any person living in Europe would be known as a European. The other new word we notice in here is colonization. So if we look at this colonization word, one thing I noticed right away is that it ends in ization. This ending ization means something really specific. Ization words, when you hear something ends in ization, it means it refers to a process, some kind of process. So think of other words that end in ization. You might think capitalization. Someone in live class said socialization, which I like a lot. Socialization. You might think of organization. Okay? All three of these words end in ization. When it's an ization word, it refers to some kind of process. Think about capitalization, the process of making letters capital, making them uppercase. Think about socialization, the process of becoming more social. Think about organization, the process of organizing something. So colonization is the process of taking over lands / people. Colonization, the process of taking over land / people. Our job today is to try to understand how colonization, how the process of taking over lands and people could have changed Europeans' view of the world. How could this person's view of the world, how could their world map change as a result of colonization? So the way you're going to figure that out, today isn't one of those days where you're going to get a lot of answers. Today is more about thinking about the possibility of how a person living in Europe, how their worldview could change as a result of this new process we just learned, colonization. The way you are going to do that thinking is through today's activity. So I'm going to share my screen now so you can see what the daily packet looks like. So at this point, you should have done your Ready to Learn. Activity part 1 is tricky. So directions. The following images can be put together to form a map of the world in 1507. This map is what a student in Europe at the time would have been told is an accurate map of the world. However, the map in 1507 looked totally different than the map of the world today. Rearrange the pieces below to create the map of the world in 1507. First person to finish will get a prize on the first day of school next year. So that was only for people in live class. So if you're watching this video afterwards, obviously you can't participate in the competition, but it is still a fun puzzle. So your first task is to rearrange all of these different squares in order to create a proper map. So when to move one of these squares, you have to click on the square you want to move, click again, and hold down, and then drag it to the place you want to drag it. I'll give you a hint. The squares on the leftmost side are in the proper position. So your job is to rearrange the rest of the squares so that it creates the whole world map. If you really can't figure it out, you can click on the link under activity part 2. There is a link to a picture of the actual map, okay? If you follow that link, it will bring you to a PowerPoint with a picture of the full map, but challenge yourself to first try to put it together on your own, to really do that hard geographical thinking. Once you've arranged the map in the proper way, you've put everything in the right spot, answer the reflection questions under activity part 2, the 3rd page of today's packet. That's all for today, guys. I look forward to continuing our unit on Monday. Please make sure to submit your letter to your representative by Sunday at 6 p.m. Thank you.